Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned in to The Encourager, and I am recording this message on 4/15 of 2024. We are in the midst of our Mercury retrograde, Aries Mercury, or not, yes, Aries Mercury retrograde, and a week ago, I had a solar eclipse, and so, yeah, let's go ahead and we're actually finishing up. I'm going to finish up sharing from my journal. And this time around, and I think we're actually at the more or less at the end already. There are a couple of things that that I want to read to you that I wrote towards the end of the book, which I tend to do when I get a journal. Not always, but most of the time, I end up going back and I end up writing something at the end of the book or the journal. And so, yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're doing good. Welcome back, subscribers, and thank you for tuning in, new listeners. And so, we are going to, yeah, I think we're pretty much, yeah. And I don't know, for some reason, I always leave a couple of pages blank in a journal. I don't know why. Towards the end, I always do that. Again, the right side of the page, when I was a part of the religious organization, the right side of the page I used for messages or what have you. Each and every week, I would take my journal to services as well. And so that's what's on the right-hand side of the page. So that information I won't share in large part because I don't follow religion today. And so a lot of that, we could probably spend hours on me proving was some sort of illusion or misleading on the teacher's part, whether the teacher was aware of that or not. If they are aware of it, then it's manipulation. If they're not aware of it, then it's traditions, and it's just stuff that they were taught or stuff that they put together and believe and based on other beliefs in the past and blah, 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 right? So, yeah. So anyway, let's get to this dream. And again, I'm going to read one more. Oh, take a look at this. So we always read about in our angel numbers, we always read about writing things down, and we always read about planning, right? And it talks about becoming wise about your finances as well as, yourself, right? So in protecting yourself financially, spiritually, you need to learn some things. And so here are some notes I wrote down a couple of years ago in regard to some asset protection, irrevocable trust, some deferrals that you can make within the trust. This is how you go about protecting your wealth for generations. If you want to know how the Rockefellers do it, you want to know how the Bushes do it, you want to know how the Ross Perots do it, you want to know how the Mitt Romneys do it, you want to know how the Bill Gates do it, you want to know how they do it? They do it through trusts, family trusts, revocable trusts, property trusts, or land trusts as they're called, all sorts of things. And so, yeah, just notes there. Spendthrift trust, which you can couple with an irrevocable trust, which completely, or I guess to even the greatest extent. So to my knowledge today, there are a couple of different vehicles you can couple together that would really kind of wipe your name off of any asset on this earth. A irrevocable trust coupled with a spendthrift trust can provide payments to you, right? So your tax liability can be lowered, but then the majority of your assets are not taxed. Okay? And so, yeah, great information there to look into if you are are wanting to find out how to protect your family's financial assets. Okay, so this dream, KP, whose name is Kaylee, her last name, she's married now, but myself and others are sitting in a place much like the rock living room. Oh, I think I read this already. Maybe not. Okay, no, maybe not. KP and I are on the front row. I know, by the way, KP, her father is the senior minister at the Rock of Central Florida, where I was a part of that ministry for 20 years after the military. That's where I was sent after the military. All right. So that's who KP is. She is the eldest, now married daughter of the senior minister there. Okay. I noticed one of my fingers bleeding as if it had been pricked. Okay. As guys do, I put my finger in my mouth, right? And I put your finger in your mouth and you like try to stop the bleeding, right? KP looks over and says, ew. My brother does that. Her brother's name is Josh or Joshua. I say, well, yeah, he's a guy. She asks to see the small puncture. She wipes the new appearing blood away with her finger. Then there is a moment when we lock eyes and she lays her head on my shoulders. A woman walks over to us. She looks like, okay, so we mutually know several people. Okay, so obviously being a part of their house for 20 years, her father established that house in 1999. I showed up 3 years later. Well, energetically showed up 3 years later in 2002, physically showed up in 2003 because I had to finish up my time in the military, but I was getting cassette tapes. So I was already made aware of them spiritually, but again, I was finishing up my time in military intelligence school before exiting the military. And so a woman walks over to us who looks like Caroline Jordan. And again, Caroline Jordan is one of their very dear friends. So KP's mother, and whose name is Kimberly, her and Caroline are extremely close friends. Very, very, very close friends, right? They have backgammon contests and all that sort of thing when they come into town or they go visit them. They're very, very close friends. Good people. Caroline and Henry, her husband, is sewn into me. Spiritually, financially, and in fact, they were one of the two families that sold into me during one of my 3 stints of being homeless. I went to go watch a football game that their son Joshua, Kim and Steve's son Joshua, was playing in, and Kim and Caroline Jordan were there. I did not know it. I just know that, I don't know, I was homeless and he had a game and Most High led me to go to that game that day, right? And I did, and they said when I guess walked up the bleachers. I was trying to think of the word. Walked up to the bleachers at the game. That's what Most High told them to do. And so we got to the parking lot and they had the discussion right there with me in the parking lot with Steve. And they said, we believe that Yahweh is telling us to sow this seed into you. And so we're going to be faithful to do that. And that seed was $2,500. That's what that seed was that Henry and Caroline Jordan gave me. Okay. He is the only retired executive Walmart employee to ever reach that position without a degree. He started cleaning. He started in their pet department part-time, 30 years ago, and literally worked his way up to executive status with the Walmart family. Like he got to that level. I think he retired at like year 28 or something like that. He wrote a book as well. Again, his name is Henry Jordan. I don't recall the name of the book, but it is a book it's a book about leadership and his almost 30 years in the Walmart Corporation. So yes, but Caroline Jordan comes over. But I wonder if it's Linda. Now, Linda, you've heard me mention Linda's name before. Linda is KP's grandmother. She is Kim's mother, okay? Her mother's mother, all right? And she was a part of the Rock as well for 10 years. She passed in 2000. Again, synchronicities. Started the house in 2010 in the land where Linda was born. She was back in her land of her her native land for 10 years. Then she was sown. She passed, okay, in 2009. Okay. All right. And so, she doesn't verbally speak. She just looks for a few seconds and walks away. This dream could very well be my mind, conscious or subconscious. So I'm going to share with you what I believe this dream is today. Okay? So what I believe that dream means today, based on the events. So for those of you who are not aware, I'll give you just a real, I'm going to try to do this in like 30 seconds. That's not going to happen. Let's try to do this in 60 seconds or less. Okay? So this is what I believe the significance of this dream is today. Okay? I was a part of this house. She is the administrator of the Rock of Central Florida. So she takes care of all of the administrative duties and all of that, and has for, man, since she was a teenager, if not even adolescence. Like she's been her father's right hand in that ministry, and she leads worship and all that today. She's been his right hand for I don't know how long, right? For forever in that ministry, right? So, and she knows she's firm, and that's her purpose, right? So, so the prick on the finger. So this is how I see this. So I was a part of that house for 20 years. When I met the Scorpio, she was a part of another house, but it was in the process of leaving it. She said Most High told her that her husband was at the Rock of Central Florida. She told me this after we started dating, not before. We met a year before we started dating. She was not a part of the Rock again. The weekend we started dating was the weekend that she became a part of the Rock of Central Florida. I had already been there for 18 years. 17 years or something. And, just shy of 17 years. And so she decided she was going to be a part of the house, right? And jumped in with both feet, got into ministry, and she was used to that. She was I think a worship leader at the church she was a part of before, that's located in Deltona, Florida. And I remember you heard me talk about seed sowing or the trading floor, and how the Rock of Central Florida, that was something that was shared amongst us. And basically the trading floor is a tithe. That is what a tithe is. If you haven't heard the truth about tithing, I encourage you to find that video on the channel and look at that video on tithing. Excuse the profanity, I do cuss, and so in my fervency and in my passion and in my fight for justice, I use profanity, and it could be even in my joy. I have no problem saying fuck yeah. I don't say fuck yeah. That's not a phrase I would typically use, but I could say that, you know what I mean? So So just so that you're aware, you know, and I still haven't gotten used to saying that on each and every video, just like I forget the email address, which is theencourager333@gmail.com. So getting back to the dream, so one of the last seeds I sowed into Kim, I gave her $40. It was at a service, you know, one day, and I had some money in my pocket. I sat down after the praise and worship part of the service, the praise part of the service, the singing, and Most High, Holy Spirit, said, take what you have in your pocket and give it to Kim. And we've traded into each other over the years. Me and other people have in that house. It was something that it's a common practice. It's nothing different or new. And again, that's what the tithe is supposed to be. The tithe is not something to be given to an organization, just so that you're aware. And so, the church calls them needing money to pay their bills. They call that a tithe, but that is incorrect. Okay? Because you and I do not call a tithe when we get our paycheck. That's not a tithe from that company into us. They're compensating us for hopefully quality work that we've delivered to them, right? For services rendered. Okay? And so a church really, truly should function no differently. Okay? Here's what our bills are, and this is what we need to get them paid. If we don't get them paid, we can call and get extensions, just like you do for your electricity or your whatever. I was going to say phone bill. Not many people have landlines today at their house. But, yeah. So, $44 was the amount of money in my pocket. I gave that to Kim. And I told her that Most High told me to give this to you. And I took it out of my pocket. I counted it, and it was 44. We had just gotten a revelation on the number 44. I had heard something on the number 44, or there was something about the number 44 at that time. Okay? When me and the Scorpio met, we are the same age. We are 16 days apart. Same year, same month. Okay? She's 16 days older than I am. Okay? She and I were 44 when I sold that seed into Kim. Kim told me, you will know without question what this seed was for. She said it's going to be so profound. It's going to be, you will know distinctly what the seed is for because of your obedience. She said, and it also answers a question for me that I was asking Most High about. She didn't say Most High. She says, they say Yahweh. She said, I was asking Yahweh about, and she says, so this answers a question that I was asking. She said, and so, thank you for your faithfulness and blah, 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 right? Nothing, very casual conversation. It was like that, you could sit and talk. It didn't have to be, them up there and me down here, so to speak. Fortunately, at least out from the appearance, they did not run the church like that. And so the prick on the finger and that little bit of blood, and I know this is what Most High is saying to me. And it bothers me to say it because it hurt more than a prick to your finger. But in essence, Most High is saying this is what that was compared to the promises and the joy that is coming to you. Okay, so yes, they put that crown of thorns on your head. Yes, they pierced your side. Yes, they beat you with a cat of nine tails or cats of nine or whatever's of nine tails. Yes, they spit on you. Yes, they did all of these things to you. Yes, they did these things to you. Yes, they nailed you to a cross. Yes, they did these things to you. Yes, they persecuted you. But your ascension is going to be so great. It's going to make that amount of time that you went through that process minuscule. It's going to make it appear as if it was just a prick on your finger. Okay? So that's what Most High is saying to me here. Okay? So where does KP come in? I almost said her name. Where does KP, and she's an adult today, where does KP come in today in this? And I used to call her KP. That's what I used to call her before she got married. And then her initials now are KS. It just doesn't doesn't sound as, I don't know. So anyway, so and Most High shared something with me about, if you don't think that the majority of the people that you meet this lifetime, that you are meeting today, that you have met this lifetime, you have met in a previous lifetime, there's still some Akashic record information that you should access, okay? Because the majority, not all, the majority of the people that you run into from lifetime to lifetime are the people who you were meant to meet. Either you did not learn the lesson, either there's more work to be done with you two collaborating, or something else, okay? So, Most High shared something with me about Kaylee, okay, some time ago. And when Most High sent me to that place in 2002, energetically, because I didn't know they existed, I found out through a friend. And I was 2,000 miles away. I was in Arizona, and they're in Florida. And so, yeah, people that, excuse me, confirmation. The enemy doesn't obviously want that to get out. But the people that you meet in the past, or the people that you meet in this lifetime, you've met in past lifetimes. Okay? And so, yeah. So, there is some clearing of some energy, some clearing up. Again, Kaylee is the administrator at the Rock. Administrator. So there are some things that need to be administered and adhered to, some things that need to be shared, some things that need to be cleared up. There are some repentances, some forgiveness, some forgiving. There are some things that need to take place here. Okay? I told her father about the Scorpio who was doing witchcraft against me, or she was connected to someone who was doing witchcraft against me. I told him that she was a sex addict, that she was involved with a transvestite. I told him all of these things. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe that someone could be a part of his church, teaching his children, teaching their kids, not his kids, his children are adults, but teaching the people, the kids of the Rock of Central Florida under his nose, and be functioning in such demonic, karmic ass energy. He didn't believe me, or be connected to karmic ass energies as such. People who are doing witchcraft. He didn't believe me. Well, guess what? Now the truth is known. Now it's out, right? And so, physically, that devastated me. Okay? From as an unconditional lover who was betrayed by the one who he considered to be the love of his life, that was devastating. I've never called anybody the love of my life. Ever. Ever. I've never even considered anybody the love of my life. If anybody ever said to me, I'm the love of your life, I would have told them, you don't have that much power. You don't have that control. I would have told them, no, you're not. I married two women who were not the love of my lives. I didn't feel as though they were the love of my life. The first one, the first marriage, I can truly say that there was something unique and special there. The second marriage, no. Okay? And so you would say, why did you get married? I don't know, because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. That's the road that I thought I was supposed to go down, right? So it's no different than making the wrong choice on the menu and then finding out you're allergic to it. So it looked great on the menu. So anyway, yeah. So read the words. Don't just pay attention to the pictures. That's for somebody. So I believe that there is some information that is somebody is wanting to share with me. They're wanting to clear the energy up. I sent her father emails, Steve, the senior minister at the Rock. He didn't reply to the email, the second one, when I told him I relocated to Arizona and was no longer a part of his house because he chose to not believe me when he was disappointed back, I don't know, in 2012 when I was homeless for the second or third time. And because of the recession, and told him, I didn't tell him then because 60% of the house was unemployed, and I just didn't want to put another burden on him. So I didn't. And so, oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to have to read this to you. I just turned to something about the trading floor as told to me on 4/5/16 by Kim Parker. Thank you, Most High. I'm glad I'm a fucking scribe, boy. I write shit down. I just turned to the page, and it's one of the last pages in this journal. This is going to be good. Okay. So that's what I believe the significance of that dream is. There's something that needs to be cleared up. Caroline Jordan is extremely significant to this. Her and Henry, again, they've sown into me financially, spiritually, with encouragement. The last time I saw them was at Kaylee's wedding. That was the last time I saw Henry and Caroline, and that was in 2000. Was it 2020? Yeah. 2020, 2021, something. I don't know. I can't remember. And that was the last time I saw them. They live in Arkansas, I believe. But then I think they have a property in Panama City, or they did, or something like Panama City, Florida. And yeah, so that's the significance of that dream. Linda, her grandmother, Steve's mother-in-law, Kim's mother, she has always come in as a witness and as a referee, right? She's come to me in other dreams that Kim was in as well. She's always been a referee. She comes in, makes sure everything's going the way that it should, kind of like a judge. Man, is everything going okay in here? Mediator? All right, everything's going good. Okay, just checking. And that's why it's interesting the person didn't speak. I had another dream about Linda, in which she didn't speak. She just opened the door. She looked in. She looked around. Kim was standing there with a big old book that she needed both of her arms to carry. I was running around in my underwear talking about plans had changed. Literally. The plans have changed. Plans have changed. I was running around in my underwear. Plans have changed. Plans have changed. I told Kim that dream. She interpreted it and told me what the dream meant. And it was for her. It wasn't for me. Okay? So let's get to this. On what Kim shares with me here. Okay? And again, see the date? Trading floor. The trading floors are open. I've been to the trading floors during the night. I saw them. The only problem was Madonna was dedicating the release of individuals to occupy the trades. When I showed up, she had to acknowledge me. Ever since, I knew we were going to flip that. It's so amazing what he is allowing us to do. It happens through our everyday choices and heart for him. I'm still learning, but it is real. I wish you could scribe it all because I can hardly keep it. I am trading with Iran on behalf of America. I believe the outcome will put, and there was something going on at that time. Not that there isn't now. I believe the outcome will put an end to ISIS. Obama served as a served us a banquet at the White House 2 weeks ago. We were all there. Rooms were prepared, but Obama himself was removing the covering from the table. I knew the dishes and the food was next. Then I came back the next week and it was Resurrection Sunday, and a Turkish lady I met years ago was at the church. She introduced me and asked if she could volunteer at the ELC, and that's the Rock Early Learning Center that is at the Rock of Central Florida in Sanford, Florida. I agreed. Well, she is from Iran, full-blooded. She was chosen to attend the university there and allowed a green card. Anyways, she just got to America, and we are teaching her the American culture. I know she has come on behalf of her people. We are chosen to meditate, and she is chosen to trade. Obama knew we were the ones, which is why he prepared the feast to honor. Your spirit does not need to sleep, just your body. And then on 4:14:6, there were resources received. For the Rock's Early Learning Center, or for the school, Rock Academy. Okay. All right. So the last thing I want to read, that's the last thing in this book, last thing written in this book. Okay. And I like it that we're finishing this up during the end of the solar eclipse, and during this Aries Mercury retrograde, first one of the year in the year of 8. I love that. And so, yeah. So let's get to the last thing that I wrote here. And I wrote this back when. I don't know if I wrote in here when I got this journal. No, I didn't. But just a plain black journal. So it wasn't the first entry. You can see that there are pages or torn out or something again. It's 10 years old, and it's been many places. 33 minutes exactly on the timer when I looked up at the clock. 33. All right, so from 4:16:14 until whenever that last entry was, 4:14, 4:16. Yep, 4:16. So almost exactly 7 years. Yeah. All right. So here is the entry I made when I got this journal in 2014. I dedicate my life to the work of the ministry, to be diligent, to be faithful, to learn of his glory and know his mysteries. I am called to such a place. Let not my flesh hinder me. Alone if I must, never again will I doubt the supreme mandate I have upon my life. To be called, chosen, and set apart. I relish this. With this great command comes great strife. I must go on. I segregate myself from all that hinders this work. Wholly, WHOLLY, unto you, Yahweh. Holy, HOLLY, unto you. This, or the enemy, is fierce and unrelenting. I am stronger, greater, mightier than even them by the work of the ministry. And that's me. That's me, 100%, without a doubt, without question, unquenchable, Yeah, that's me today. And I've made some significant changes during this Mercury retrograde, which might be surprising to some of you. And so I will be sharing those in another video. Thank you so much for tuning in and going through this journal with me. Again, I'm going to be creating a playlist for this journal readings and including these journal readings in that playlist. And so this completes the first 3 years of my journey for the last 10 years of the karmic cycle that we are closing out. And actually for me, it's an 11-year cycle that started in 2013 with the diagnosis of IgG4 nephropathy. Okay, so that's an 11. Okay? All right. So thank you so much as always for tuning in. I hope you are blessed. I hope you are being sincere in your choices, in your language, in your walk, that it is genuine and it is forgiving. It is the pure love that forgives easily, doesn't forget, forgives easily, holds people accountable, okay, and does not mass punish. Okay, so let's go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name's Nehru. This is The Encourager. And as always, be encouraged.